Let's fucking go!
3, 2, 1.
Today, I will be covering the only two licensed WCW games that were published by Electronic Arts. It's in the game. WCW Mayhem and WCW Backstage Assault. Let's fucking go! Mayhem was released for the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 and the Game Boy Color. I will be covering the PlayStation version, which was released in North America on September 23rd, 1999, and was released in Europe the very next day. It was developed by short-lived studio Kodiak Interactive Software. WCW Mayhem has always been compared unfairly to the Nintendo 64 Aki games that came before it, with many people forgetting that WCW Nitro and Mayhem were the WCW thing on the PlayStation beforehand. It is a massive improvement if we see it from that perspective, as the gameplay replicates the pacing of a match much better than those ice-capade disaster pieces. The pacing of the matches is slow, centered around a momentum bar, very similar to how the Aki titles work. When it's filled up, you can pull off a finisher, though a lot of damage has to be done to your opponent first before they stay down, regardless of whether you execute your signature move. The presentation is very basic when it comes to the main menu interface, with the splash screen and main menu looking like some early 2000s web page. The camera angles chosen for the matches are really good at times, really close up, and create some good action shots.
Oh my, that must have done some serious damage. All of the stars of WCW are...
Mean Gene Okerlund, not as good as the Fink, serves as ring announcer, and Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan provide commentary. The commentary is probably the best thing of Mayhem, as I feel it does a better job at being more synchronized with what's going on in the match than even the modern 2K titles. WCW Mayhem doesn't have a lot of features, only a limited Create a Wrestler and bare bones tournament mode. It was the first wrestling game to feature backstage arenas, which is some kind of accolade, I guess, though the backstage arenas are randomized and all look the same geographically. Mayhem is the best WCW game on the PS1, but that is not saying much at all. Mayhem's control scheme is an obvious mimicry of the Aki titles, which was a wise move, all things considered, but its sparse features offer near zero replayability, and despite decent gameplay, I cannot recommend the game at all due to how dull the overall package is. WCW Backstage Assault marks not only the last officially licensed WCW game for the PlayStation, but the final licensed WCW game, period, as the company would soon be de facto defunct on March 26, 2001. It was released for the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64, and yep, you guessed it, I will be covering the PlayStation version, released in North America on November 8th, 2000, and then in Europe on the 24th of that same month. It was published by Kodiak Interactive and published by Electronic Arts. It's in the microtransactions. Woo! I really like this game. I really do. This is going to be difficult. WCW Backstage Assault is widely considered to be one of the worst wrestling video games ever released. Maybe this is due to the connotations it has with WCW folding, maybe it's because there is no ring at all in this and takes place entirely in backstage areas. Either way, Backstage Assault is up there with Pepsi Man, 007 Racing, and Simpsons Wrestling as one of my guiltiest pleasures of the PlayStation library. I have played this game more so than any self-respecting individual should admit, unlocking every single arena, wrestler, attire, etc. My nostalgia for hardcore wrestling seems to be stronger than I care to admit. Hitting opponents with blunt objects for hours on end really seems to be enough for me, and if there ever was a license for reviewing wrestling video games, no doubt that sentence would have revoked it. Backstage Assault plays just like Mayhem, as in it's a shoddier version of WCW vs NWO Revenge, with finishers that don't do any damage and the chance of winning by pinfall in under 10 minutes, about as slim as me not finding cuck porn on a 4chan thread. If you are here for a real match and not for historical purposes, or to give Eric Bischoff that heavyweight title run he always deserved,
that's fucking bullshit,
or to smack the crap out of your dad's favourite superheroes with a urinal, then Backstage Assault might not be the game for you. I don't know what the main menu is going for here, other than to illustrate what a concussion feels like. Half of the background is some grey sludge of indistinguishable texture, whilst the other half looks like it hasn't loaded properly. Fonts don't match up, even on the main menu, and the sound effects just sound glitchy. There are only 2 BGM tracks also, a main theme of sorts, and then Vampiro's theme. Where is my fucking music? Indeed. The game does look worse than Mayhem, most likely due to the development cycle being less than a year. The character models are especially bad. Proportions are all out of whack, faces look small and compressed, and most clothing has no sense of texture at all, with some of the wrestlers looking like they were sunburned or had gangrene. Arenas don't fare much better, and everything just looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint. And also, if you didn't already know, there are no entrances. How could there be with our ring? Instead, you get FMVs of wrestlers' Turnitrons, which gives Backstage Assault that time capsule appeal, a bit one for a very bad time in wrestling history, as WCW had never been worse, and WWF has never been better. Game modes include Gauntlet, where you face several opponents with no health regeneration between matches, Single mode, where you have First Blood and Inferno, and of course Title mode, where you fight in every single arena until the game says you can go. Again, fun if you just want to beat the crap out of anyone with blunt objects, like me, but I imagine it's absolute torture for anyone who wanted to play an actual wrestling match. WCW Backstage Assault is a game I cannot recommend at all to anyone, not PS1 fans, not wrestling fans, not even WCW fans. It is as much a wrestling game as its spiritual successors, the Backyard Wrestling series, were. You can strike, grapple, do aerial moves, turnbuckle moves into the tires in the media room, but they are more obligations that are adjacent to the central gimmick, which is smacking the crap out of people with blunt objects.
What a devastating blow! What's he going to do with that?
If that's why you played it back in day, then it still holds up, as the sound effects and animations are still funny, but it is really slim pickings. For the money that was probably spent on producing this game, considering the names involved, Backstage Assault can only be seen as a glorious train wreck. And that's why I love it. In conclusion, WCW Mayhem and Backstage Assault are both emblematic of their respective years regarding WCW content. 1999's Mayhem still cares about looking like a wrestling product, but is rudderless and inconsequential. And 2000's Backstage Assault is actually better, as instead of being mediocre, it's just fascinatingly bad. A crack-ass rollercoaster of ill thought out gimmicks and desperate mimicry of WWF content. It scratches an itch due to its near complete devotion towards replicating the feel of WCW/WWF hardcore matches, but it's nostalgia that will be keeping you here, other than anything resembling objective quality, because there is none here to be found. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and goodbye.